Hello Twitchies and welcome to another Season 9 God Guide. Today we've got ourselves Amazing Cobb and we're going to be taking him into the mid lane. The mid lane is just a little bit safer for him, a little bit easier for him to get away with some of his B-ness. And so we are going to be rocking him in the old mid lane, grabbing himself a blue stone as well as the tier 1 Jotuns. We're going to be rocking it with Jotun's Wrath. That Jotun's Wrath really good right now on pretty much every role. If you're going to be rocking a hunter mid, I do recommend it. That Jotun's Ferocity I think is one of the most underrated. I can't even focus right now on what just happened. One of the most underrated items in the game, particularly in the early stages with that percentily better damage output that it gives you. So AMC is a god that people tend to think is a lot better than he actually is. A lot of this comes from the fact that AMC will inevitably get played in pro level play. It's just kind of the nature of AMC. He goes through cycles, he sucks for a while, they give him a tiny buff, all of a sudden he's getting played all the time at a pro level. And then everybody tries to pick him up and they realize that AMC is extremely difficult to play and is extremely hard to play against unless you have yourself a entire team composition based around him. And so playing him is a lot more difficult when you're just kind of trying to wing it. Ow. Run away, run away. Speaking of trying to wing it, try not to get wrecked by the old Bastet middle. Ow, Quang jungle. The classic combination over here in mid. For our AMC leveling order, we're definitely going to be looking at maxing out our 2 first. This is going to be our main burst ability as well as our main lane clear. Some people like to go for the honey. I find the honey to be a little bit cheeky, a little bit cheesy, honestly. Getting obviously 1 point in it early is very strong. And so you're going to want to grab it at level 2 or 3 either way. But maxing it out has never been much of my jam. But having it to proc that blue stone to get some nice little bonus wave clear off is always nice. Gonna get myself a little bit of honey on the way out of here, just trying to run away from this Ao Quang using our hives to get back into safety.
Your right tower is under attack.
But for that level order at AMC, we're going to be maxing out our ultimate every single chance that we get. The reason why AMC kind of popped back up at pro level play again is because his ultimate had gotten buffed. It had gotten a whole lot better. They had given it some additional percent shred on top of his ultimate. On top of all the other wonderful things that it could do, why not also give it some nice armor shred on top of the fact that it's a cripple? Why not make it a slow? All sorts of things, really, in order to try to bring him back in as kind of a power-based hunter. Primarily, like I said, he was run in the mid lane, although he did pop up in duo from time to time. So after we max out our 4, we're gonna max out our 2 just for that bonus burst damage. Then you do have an option on whether or not you actually want to max the hives or if you want to max the honey. Personally, I'm a hives guy, so I like to go 4, 2, 1, 3, do the honey last, but you could make an argument for actually doing the hives last and going 4, 2, 3, 1. But those hives giving you that bonus movement speed, giving you that bonus attack speed, having that stim, really very convenient. Also makes it much harder to gank AMC when he has all that bonus movement speed coming out from his hives a little bit earlier in the game, and Lord knows you're a pretty easy target to gank on AMC, so you're gonna wanna, for the most part, rank up those hives.
Enemy spotted. Right,
as far as the type of build that we're looking to be running, it's gonna be a little bit more ability based than necessarily a traditional hunter build would be over in the dual lane, because we are not in the dual lane. We are in the mid lane, so we are trying to provide a little bit more burst damage to our team, and we don't necessarily want to overlap a ton on getting something like crit. If we get too much crit going and our Izanami wants to go crit, then we're kind of incentivizing the enemy team to just go ahead and build a bunch of anti-crit items. We're incentivizing them to go Spectral, High to the Nemean Lion, all of that good stuff. That was an unfortunate mana regen right there from the outclaim with the Boomba's dagger to have enough to use his dash away. Now I do actually have to be careful here because Bastet, I don't know if he has his ulti up or not, but if he does have his ulti, he can absolutely kill me. Not obviously a standard mid lane matchup, unfortunately. Would have been much more beneficial if this was a mage to have seen a more traditional matchup here. Almost always going to be mages run in the mid lane right now. Very few hunters. I would say the AMC as a mid lane option has dropped off pretty hard because mages are simply better right now. Hunters in general being rocked over in the dual lane. But the dual lane is really long for AMC, like really long. So it's very difficult for AMC to get away with not having an escape skill over in the dual lane, with the junglers being able to show up as often as they are, which is why he was kind of ran in the mid lane at a high-end level. But, and this is true, you can't buy Spear of Desolation on AMC, and so that's a big negative for him in the mid lane. As far as our matchups are concerned, we really like AMC into gods that are super dependent on movement abilities, so the Bastet won't be horrible for us in that regard. Unfortunately, we don't have a CC immunity in our kit, which is going to be our big deficit right there. But you can see kind of the benefit of being able to hit the Bastet with my ultimate, which cripples her, so it did force her to go ahead and use her ultimate for CC immunity, which is kind of a bummer that she got it off that way because she doesn't have BTS teleport, but still not the end of the world. So for our second item in the mid lane, and also because of the particulars of what we're going against this game, we're going to take ourselves into a Runeforged Hammer. That Runeforged Hammer is going to give us a little bit of HP to help live through some of this Bastet bleeding and whatnot. And it's also going to give us a lot of bonus burst damage on our abilities here in the mid lane on a Hunter.
Okay. Another Patriot has fallen.
We also have a lot of really easy ways to proc it. We literally just hit them with our 3, and we're going to proc that slow. Bada bing, bada boom. We're going to be able to get mad effectiveness out of that Runeforged Hammer in the early stages of the game. So we're really looking, like I said, to go against gods that are reliant on movement abilities. Anybody that is pure movement speed related is going to be a little awkward for you. And that's because you're not going to get the nice versatility out of your ultimate. Being able to stop people from using their leaps. So a Ryzen, a Merlin, really nice against a Merlin, an Agni, anybody like that is going to be quite nice compared to somebody like a Poseidon or a Ra who's just relying on base movement speed. One, that base movement speed is going to make it really hard for you to hit your Stinger. Stinger is not an easy ability to hit. It is pretty dang thin. So if they've got plus 18%, plus 20% movement speed, it's going to be, in general, hard for you to hit that ability compared to like a big old Ryzen boy banging on his drums in the middle lane. Then you can't dash away or you force him to use his beats, something of that sort. Also, generically, AMC tends to be pretty good against tanks as well because of his shredding capabilities, particularly as you move into the later stages of the game. For your standard combination on the AMC, you're going to want to tend to have your hive out first. So assuming that your hive is down, congratulations, you're halfway there. Then you're going to want to start off usually with your honey. Your honey is going to give you that slow on the enemy. That slow is going to make it easier for you to follow up and hit your ultimate. So sometimes you're going to have to go for the raw ultimate like we just did right there. But if you can, make your life a little bit easier. No reason to go for the super hard YOLO AMC ult. If you can just go ahead and slow them down by 20%, it's just going to make your life a lot easier. So you start off with that 3, get them slowed down. Plus, you're going to get that bleed damage on them as well. That bleed damage also going to be very helpful in those last kind of final ticks. So you're going to start off with the hive, then you use your honey, ulti for the cripple, follow up with an auto attack in between all of these as you would, and then finish them off with your swarm for that final bit of a burst damage.
I am Atlas.
Now that we got our Rune Forge online, we're going to get a lot more damage out of everything that we do. We're basically just adding 20% bonus damage on top of all of our abilities. Also, keep in mind that you're getting those Rune Forge procs not just off of your own CC, but off of the target being CC'd, period. Doesn't actually matter if it's you applying that CC or not. Doesn't actually matter.
I sense the enemy's weakness. Be right back.
Bastet looking like she's gonna get pretty cheeky on me this game. It also looks like I'm gonna get dove kind of by Emoji over here. We got 3 people just kind of camping us in the mid lane. To be fair, part of that is the fact that if you're playing AMC, there's a good chance that you're going to get camped because you don't have a getaway skill. The other half of this is because we are kind of getting trolled, which is unfortunate, but what are you gonna do, I suppose? Try to hold out until the late game stages. So all we're looking to do right now, basically, is hold out until a later stage of the game. Just kind of AFK and farm up a little bit. Sitting underneath our mid tower won't do us that much good because they do have the Bastet pull. That was a really good Atlas play right there. Unfortunately, the Yamojo was the farthest one in front, so the ultimate actually hit her instead of hitting that Bastet. Looking for the Quang on the side, gonna try to get the bleed on him so that way he pops out of his stealth as quickly as he went into it. And we might be able to find ourselves a nice little kill onto that Quang. That's quite nice. Gonna go ahead and try to throw down the slow there onto Bastet, see if I can't ulti through for the Emoja, but not quite gonna be able to hit her through her ultimate right there. But we do grab ourselves another kill, and so that's not gonna be too bad on the XP front. Now for our next item, we do actually have options. We did not opt to get the early game lifesteal going with the Devo gloves because we didn't get our lifesteal early, because we went for a little bit more power, because we are in the mid lane. We're gonna take it into an Aussie. I don't recommend getting Devo gloves later in the game. Like if you're not going to get Devo gloves as kind of your first item to build up that power and build up that sustain, I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting it later on. You've just kind of avoided getting it. Aussie's still a fantastic lifesteal item. And of course, keep in mind you have the Atalanta's bow, but I presume that my Izanami is also gonna go the Atalanta's bow route, which means she's also probably going to get Deathbringer. So like we said earlier, we don't want to stack up too much on that crit. Having one hunter with crit is fine, but having more than one hunter for crit is really going to be a detriment towards your team. Another thing we kind of sucks this game is we have 4 physical damage dealers, and we don't have any magical damage dealers. If your mid lane picks a physical character, it is your responsibility as a ADC to pick a magical character. You have to pick a magical character as an ADC if your physical picks a mid above you. There's really not a great option for magical junglers. You can see that they're running an Ao Kuang, but honestly, Ao Kuang is just vastly inferior to any of the assassin options. We're gonna grab ourselves an Aegis here for our second active, help us live through some of these bleeds from the Basset. And then we're gonna go back and we're gonna rank up that Jotun's Wrath into the Ferocity. Typically, I like to rank up that Jotun's Wrath right around that second to third item on the AMC. So we're not gonna quite finish our third item. We are gonna go back and we're gonna rank up that Ferocity because we didn't have enough to grab it on this particular death. And this will help us get, once again, more percentage-based damage. So we're getting percent from this Ferocity. We're gonna get percent from the Rune Forge. So we are doubling up on that percent damage. Nike, another god that's gonna be really problematic for all hunters, but particularly AMC. So AMC, obviously, without having a movement ability, we're kind of stuck in Umoja walls, as well as we are stuck in that Nike too. So if Nike decides that she's gonna go ahead and put down, if she's gonna decide she's gonna go ahead and put down her block ability, well, that's 6 seconds of us basically being stuck wherever she wants to put us. And then, of course, we can't auto attack through that as well. This is probably the worst case scenario composition for you to have to go against as an AMC, except for the Ao Kuang. The only thing worse than that would be some form of more walls in the jungle, like a Kabrakan or something would be worse. Or somebody that can avoid all of your damage bursts from your abilities, like a Robin or something, who could just use his overhead kick and completely immunity frame all of the damage that you would do from your Stinger. Your Stinger hitting is really important for actually participating in the match on AMC. Now, I do got to be a little careful here because there are still 5 people in the mid lane, as there basically have been all game long. I know that they want to kill me right here, but also, like, he's pretty far out by himself. If I could just get a little bit of assistance right here, we'd be able to take him down. I know the Bastard's going to be coming for me, so hopefully I can try to kill him before the Bastard gets here. It looks like I'm just barely not going to be able to, which is really unfortunate, but... And it looks like we are going to get rotated on by the second half of the duo lane as well there with the Medusa, which is another bummer. Once we get this Aussie online, we'll be a little bit more able to kind of fight off against this with that sustain. We're going to have the sustain from our Hives. We're going to have the sustain from our Rune Forge Hammer HP 5. And we are also going to have the sustain off of that Aussie proc. So we are going to have a lot of sustain to kind of sit there in the mid lane. Not to mention our Bluestone as well, giving us that HP 5 and that MP 5. For combinations of gods that you would like to run with AMC, AMC is just looking for somebody to help keep him alive. He is a late game hyper carry if you can get him there. He tends to struggle a little bit more in the early stages of the game. And as you transition into those team fights, he's gonna do plenty of damage, but he is gonna need somebody to peel for him. So one of the traditional peeling guardians, Umoja, Khepri, Geb, Ganesh, all of those work really well with him. If you can get him a little bit of extra peel from a solo laner or a jungler as well that can participate in that, that is also nice. So because we are rocking so many physical characters this game, I am going to need to get myself a lot of penetration items. There's unfortunately a Medusa back around that corner again, so we're gonna have to pop the Aegis right there to kind of live through his combo as they are diving us towards our back Harpy camp.
Your middle tower.
I'm just gonna go ahead and back it up right here. It looks like Emoji might continue in my way. Gonna grab myself the Aussie, and then I'm gonna start working myself right into a Executioner this game. Executioner, not a standard item that I would buy on AMC. Normally I'd get something a little bit more selfish. Executioner is really a team-oriented item because the percent pen that you're getting from an Executioner is actually reducing your target's protection, which means that everybody on your team gets the benefit from that Executioner. Because we are rocking for physicals, that does mean that we are going to need that extra percent pen for the team. Hopefully we are also going to get a Void Shield picked up as well from our solo laner. Hopefully they've realized just how many physical damage dealers that we have right now, because having that Void Shield and that Executioner for that double percent pen for the entire team is going to be really helpful for us. Now we've actually started grouping up and doing some team fights. I am starting to get into the later stages of the game. We have gotten to level 17. We're only one level down in the mid lane, which isn't too shabby considering how badly, honestly, it went, and it could be right now. And we do have that percent penetration, of course, also built in on our ultimate, which is helping. Gonna try to hit that Medusa with a 2 through the wall. We are gonna grab that. We got the Gold Fury, and we have evened up this game.
Over. Later.
Now, the one positive that will come from having this many physical damages is we will be really good against towers and phoenixes. Because we have so much physical damage, it's just generically better against those objectives. It tends to be harder for magical characters to fight them. And we're also going to have really, really good objective burn. This composition will wreck Gold Furies, it'll wreck Pyromancers, all that kind of stuff. So that's also another positive that we coming out of this. Although, I want to make it clear, I do not recommend not having a mage on your team. Mages are very, very strong right now. In fact, mages are so strong, there might be an argument to simply running the AMC over in the duo lane, so that way you don't even have to worry about your composition. You know, don't even worry about having to rely on somebody picking a magical character because you wanted to run a hunter middle. Literally just maybe run it in the duo lane and say screw it, because it's honestly not worth the risk with how powerful traditional mages are.
Another Patreon has fallen.
Now we are against this Ao Quang, so our bleeds are gonna continue to be relevant into the late game. So we do have the option to keep that Bluestone Brooch. I'm gonna start working myself now into a Kins
More enemies, not a problem.
in order to get that bonus damage against this Yamoja and the Nike. Without the Kins against this Yamoja and the Nike, I'm not gonna do much at all. Especially because they're going to be building so many physical protections. I need to make sure that I have another way to actually damage them outside of the traditional
Enemy team has destroyed the fire.
physical pen.
You're on fire.
Now they got a bunch of pickoffs in a row, so they are able to go over there and just grab the fire giant, which is a bit of a bummer. So now we're just going to try to farm up, get that level 20, keep an eye on the solo lane and see if they do decide to go for the Phoenix, although I don't think they probably will.
Step in the groove.
Try to shove out the rest of the lanes as well. They're gonna come grab all of our tier 2 towers, so the farther that we can have this all shoved up, the better. That'll help us in the long run. All right, go ahead and back it up. We'll have a lot of good poke as well at the Phoenix line with that ranked up Bluestone, just basically having hives out defensively and then just using our 3 over and over again. Reminder on AMC that in order to get that damage from the honey, you have to actually be in range of a hive. If you just do it like this, nothing's happening, and you can use your 2 to activate it as well if you're not in the range of a hive. You can activate it after it's down on the floor. You don't have to have it activated first or something. They will activate as long as you have a hive or you're 2 on that. Now their composition,
Retreat!
we gotta be careful. There's no reason for us to defend tier 2 at this point. Their composition is not super good
America,
at attacking phoenixes as long as we are grouped up with all 5 of us. They don't have the best Phoenix Assault composition. The Medusa will do good damage to our Phoenix, but they're kind of relying
your middle tower is under
on the
attack.
Nike herself to come in front line. The Emoji ult's gonna be pretty strong as well. The bigger problem is that we are now down a player, and so they're gonna be able to come in just kind of willy-nilly. So we're just trying to keep our distance right now. Try to just poke them out. There is an Outclang behind us. Looks like they are gonna get this mid Phoenix. Unfortunately, we are gonna get trapped inside of that Emoji ult. Doesn't look like anybody's really coming for us in the backline though with Emoji. She was just by herself. We can't continue to push too far forward on this Bastet lifted combo. 1 Phoenix is not the end of the world. That, on the other hand, is a bummer for sure. We actually might get a couple of kills off this. So it actually might end up being totally fine if they end up killing that Quang, but that bastard that teleport back in is hurting us a lot. Also, it doesn't look like we have very much Izanami damage at all right now. Yeah, we're not getting any damage out from the Izanami, so they're gonna be able to probably just go ahead and end this game. So really, the big part of this game comes down to bad team composition. You have to pay attention to what the other guys on your team are picking. You can't afford to run a 4 physical comp, even under the exact same hypothetical scenarios where we have their team and we have our team, but we just have 1 mage. That game goes way better for us. So make sure you're paying attention during the actual lobby phase of the game to the picks and bans. Take a second to be like, okay, this is what my team actually has. This is what I actually need to pick, because not only did we lack complete magic damage, it also forces everybody to change their builds throughout the entire game. And you can see that the Izanami got absolutely no value out of crit because all they had to do was build physical defense, guys. And that is your AMC Season 9 guide. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube in order to help out with the algorithm. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a Twitchin' day, y'all.